In this video, we're going to talk about hexagonal pyramids. So this is the last of our pyramids that we're going to talk about. Again, the same formulas for surface area and volume that we've been using. We still need the perimeter. For this regular hexagon, we're still going to need our apothem. We're still going to need the area of the base, the height, and the slant height. And there is nothing new with this except for we've got some slightly different triangles that we're dealing with. Well, the perimeter is 6 per side times 6 sides gives me a perimeter of 36. Now for my apothem, I'm going to go ahead and just draw this triangle right here. I'm going to move this off to the side. And this is also a 30, 60, 90 triangle, except for my 30 degrees is here. So this side is x, and this side is x square root 3 and 2x. So here, this being 3 makes my apothem 3 on the square root of 3. For the area of the base, that's 1/2 of that perimeter times the apothem. And when we type that into the calculator, we're going to get that this is 54 on the square root of 3. For my height, I'm going to need to draw my height triangle. They told me that the lateral height is 14. I know that my apothem is 3 on the square root of 3. And this is where we have to go back to Pythagorean theorem. It's going to be a little more complicated because I've got this square root of 3 involved here. So, my height squared plus 3 on the square root of 3 squared is going to equal 14 squared. Well, 3 on the square root of 3 squared would be 3 times 3 for that, and then times 3 again because of the square root symbol. And so we get that h squared plus 27 equals, and 14 squared would be 196. So when we subtract the 27, we get that h squared is 169. So that means that h equals 13. And so I can put my height as 13, and my slant height we know to be 14. With all that out the way, we can go ahead and start working on our surface area. So for the lateral area, we know that this is 1/2 of the perimeter times the slant height. And so when we type that in the calculator, we get that our lateral surface area is 252. For our total surface area, we're going to take the 252 and add the area of my base, which was 54 on the square root of 3. And actually, this is it. I cannot simplify this any further without having to estimate the square root of 3. And so our surface area for these just stops right here. And then for my volume, well, my volume would be 1/3 times the area of the base, 54 root 3, times my height, which is 13, and that gives me a volume of 234 on the square root of 3. And so for surface area, we go ahead and just copy the 252 plus 54 square root of 3. And for the volume, the 234 on the square root of 3. Let's go ahead and tackle our next one. Again, perimeter, apothem, area of the base, height, and slant height. This time the length of the side is 8. I have 6 sides. 8 times 6 will give me 48. My apothem, again, if this is 4, we know that for this one I need to add on the square root of 3, and so this would be 4 square root of 3. So the area of a base is 1/2 times the perimeter times my apothem, which gives me an area of my base of 96 on the square root of 3. My height, they told me, was 11. And for my slant height, I need to go back to my height triangle. So for that one, again, that's this triangle right here. And so my apothem, we know that is 4 on the square root of 3. Then I was also told my height of 11. And so this time we have 11 squared plus 4 square root of 3 squared equals my slant height squared. So when we type all of that in the calculator, that's going to give me that my slant height, well, 169 is my slant height squared, which means that my slant height would be 13. For surface area, okay, we're going to start with the lateral surface area, and that would be 1/2 of the perimeter times the slant height, which gives me a lateral surface area of 312. My total surface area, I'm going to take that 312 and add the area of my base, which was 96 root 3. Again, because I have one number that does not have the radical and one number that does, I am done because I can't add those two without having to estimate. And then for my volume, that just equals 1/3 area of the base, which was 96 root 3, times my height, which was 11. And when I type that in the calculator, I get 352 on the square root of 3. Put those answers down. 352 on the square root of 3, and 312 plus 96 on the square root of 3. And so that is how we find the surface area of hexagonal pyramids.